back to another video. This is the video that me and a bunch of my buddies have been looking forward to for about 3 years now. This is finally the video where we hope that the race truck is going to crank for the first time. It's been in the garage since October of 2020, waiting on just me to get everything together. So it's finally time. We're going to do the last few little things that I've mentioned in the last video, so I'll give you a look at that, at what we're doing, and then we'll get into it. So as you can see, we're at the back of the tank here. So we're not using the draw straw to actually pull fuel from due to us having the sump on the bottom, the bean sump. But what we decided to do was put the draw straw in there, cut the actual straw off of it, and just use it kind of like a bulkhead since we had it. So we've got a 8AN line from there with a quick connect. It runs down the frame rail, and it runs up here with the King Speed shelf. There's nowhere to bolt. Your fuel bowl would usually sit, you know, right there on the side. So I was thinking, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and this is what I come up with. So this is you can see it back there on the firewall, right there. That's a Peterson fluid system, I believe is the brand. 4-way manifold is what they call it. So you've got 3 6ANs going in and 1 -8 coming out, going back to the tank. So we've got our head return from the back, the injector return, and then we'll have our rail return go into the middle one there, and then the far right one will be our CP3 return. We'll wire all those together, and we'll have our fuel system completely sealed and nothing else open from there. So we're gonna get those lines made up. We'll catch back up with you then. All right, so until we get our CP3, we do have our second line running from our rail right there, you can see, back to our block as well. So the rail and the head is run. We're just waiting on our CP3 and then our return line for it. We went ahead and got our air dog hooked up back here to the truck side of the switch and grounded on the frame rail. And now at this point, we are ready to set the bed on. So I believe that's where we're gonna move on to now. Get the bed set back on and probably put the wheels and tires on it and go ahead and get it on the ground. I'd rather not crank it on jack stands. But so we're gonna move on, get the bed bolted back on. It's not really a whole lot to it. There's 6 bolts. There's one that goes through this mount, and where's the other one go? One goes back through here in the back bumper, and I believe, yeah, other one's right here. So there's 2 closer to the back, one here, and one here, and then corresponding on the other side of the frame rail. So get all this stuff right here cleaned up, and we'll set the bed back on. Seen a little bit in the last clip, my phone quit videoing because it had a low battery warning. We do have the bed back on the truck. Right now we're getting ready to go ahead and catch up on a few other things too. Over here we got our power driven air filter and our intake setup on. I believe that's it up here. We've got our air dog line run into a bucket. We're getting ready to go ahead and clean the system out. Roll into here and get our battery switch since we don't have a ride yet. Flip our battery on. Should have power now. And we do. And you can hear our air dog run. Bump the key. And the air dog will run for just a minute. And we have fuel. So now we know our line is good and clean. So now we'll put our CP3 on. We'll go ahead and install our sensor bung. So we'll clip the line back there somewhere, put this in line, and that 1/8" NPT port will allow us to have somewhere for our low side fuel pressure. But yeah, should be it. We're all real close to cranking this thing. All right, guys, so a few days later here, we got our regulator mounted that runs to the air dog for our boost assist. We got our line tapped in here to get boost pressure, runs to the regulator. From the regulator down the frame rail into the air dog regulator. Our last piece of our puzzle is here. We got our Extra G 14 mil race pump, a couple of stickers. So we're going to, before I put this on, I'm actually going to clean it off with brake cleaner real good, and I'm going to clear coat this because this casting piece right here is, they're really bad to rust after they get dried out, and there's no like shipping oil on it anymore, and it just looks bad. So no other reason other than that. We're just going to spray some engine clear coat on it, and we'll get the CP3 put on, and we will try to fire this thing very, very shortly. You seen in the last clip, we've already got our air dog flushed, run into a bucket, and all we got to do is hook our line up to our CP3 once it's connected, and we should be ready. Other than that, can't think of, we already got fuel entered, of course, so other than that, I think we should be good. See what engine lights are on. See, we got it bolted on. I just started this nut, I haven't torqued it yet. As you can see, so we're using a quick connect style fitting for like our CP3 and stuff. So our wiring harness that comes around the head here is gonna be right in the way. So we're gonna have to take that loose. Luckily, we got plenty of slack back here. So we should be able to just drop it down, tie it somewhere down there behind the pump, and then we can use our 90-degree quick connect. Yeah, it should be about it. We're gonna get our return line made that'll go from here back to our block that y'all seen earlier, and plug our FCA in finally, and should be good to go. So just like that, rolling on pretty good, guys. We'll crank it here in just a minute. All right, so we got our 14 mil on, got our return line ran. Of course, we've already cleaned the fuel system out. We got our quick connect on. Turn the key on, make sure we ain't got no crazy fuel leaks. Bump it soda prime again. Nothing crazy? All right.
No.
Nothing under the truck, pump's still running, so I think we're good. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it over. Do what?
There's more up here.
Yeah, we're gonna turn it over. We got the injectors unplugged, so we're gonna turn it over. We've already primed it with oil, but we're just gonna turn it over to make sure we got a little bit of pressure before we try to fire it.
Battery dead?
Surely not. No, it's not dead. It bumped over fine earlier. Or not earlier, but... Is it arcing?
I'm going with a starter, but
Surely it wasn't just not meshing.
got it.
Alright, so we've turned it over. We gotta call Austin. Austin told me if we don't FaceTime him, he's gonna be pissed.
Oh, okay. I'll FaceTime Austin.
Alright, so we've turned it over. We've got oil up to the injectors, or not injectors, up to the top now around the rockers. So we're going to FaceTime Austin because he wants to be a part of the first fire. It's a little slow due to having one battery, but we're gonna try to see if it busts off. He better answer the FaceTime. Austin, there's video proof if you don't answer the FaceTime.
What are you doing?
Y'all worrying the fuck out of me.
Well, we had some issues.
We had some issues, but we're getting through it. We're filming right now. We've turned it over. We got oil up, and we're plugged the injectors in. So we're gonna try to fire.
Can you turn your night light on?
Austin, you ready?
Fuckhead over there.
Oh, you got a cat?
Yes, chubby fat ass.
Hey, we got smoke.
I think my turn faster than my rail.
Let's get hot.
I don't know.
Hey, we'll call you back.
All right, so we've got a little bit of smoke starting to come out. We're calling Austin back. I'm gonna try to get the first fire. Austin, you ready? I think we're ready now.
So we're ready.
Yeah, we think so. It's kicking itself out, it ain't me. She is big mad. She is big mad.
It's a lot of fuel at idle.
See if it does any better. Ground still on her?
Yeah. We do have our grounds. You didn't hit the throttle, were you? Okay, I didn't do that.
I'm just reaching in the cabin. It's just surging rail pressure. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds. I mean, outside of that, it sounds good, though. Once you kick an air out of it, there the first little bit after you started it.
Yeah. It almost calmed down and then it seems like a rail pressure spikes or something. So in that last clip y'all seen that we finally got the truck to crank, there was a little cutting in and out of the video. We had a problem getting the truck to bump over, ended up actually having a ground issue. So that we chased that for a little while, eventually got it figured out, of course, and it was just really late after that, so we called it a night. But now we've got our hood stack here, just got back from Logan's, fabbed it up, so we're gonna try to fit it. So it's all mild steel pipe. We got our cross bolts in. I couldn't find any 3/8 bolts that were long enough due to being 5-inch, so at the local hardware store, so I just got 1/2 inch, which is bigger than you actually need, but oh well, should be plenty in case of turbine wheel failure. So we're going to try to fit that, and then we're going to ruin this hood, as some people would say, but been waiting to cut a hole in this thing for a while, so let's get to it. So here we go, we've got her taped off, we done got the drill punched through, no going back now. Let's get this hole cut. Alright guys, so in those last couple clips, y'all seen that obviously a lot has changed. I've done a couple of things off camera and I'll go over that here in a minute. But in the last couple clips, y'all seen we finally got the truck to run good enough to actually back it out of the garage, get it hot, and we got it in here, we got it tore apart. We got our cylinder head retorqued, so now it's had time to cool down. And we're gonna put the rockers back on, go ahead and run the overhead, because when you retorque the cylinder head, it gets closer to the block, essentially just a couple thousandths, and that changes your valve lash. So we're gonna have to rerun the overhead, and we can finally put some coolant in it, and then we can actually try to run it a little longer than just the engine break-in period. So yeah, let's go over the couple things I've done off camera, and we'll get this overhead knocked out, get some coolant in it, and we'll see if we can't maybe take this thing for a spin. All right, so it's been a little while. We've had some other things going on in the background, but so I believe since the last time, I don't believe it had the hood stack on it. This was something that me and Logan just kind of fabbed up. Of course, we've got our cross bolts there in case the turbine were to explode, it doesn't come out the hood stack. This is just like 5-inch standard exhaust pipe, nothing crazy. Chase with Conley Fabrication, he helped us on the helped us fab up the charge pipe here. It's all stainless stuff from Ace Race Parts with a stainless diesel flange up at the turbo. Obviously he can do a lot better than I can on the welds, but it is what it is. So we got that. We've got just a factory fitted pipe over here. Since we're running a factory 3rd gen intercooler and a factory style intake horn, we can just run a factory pipe here. So that's one of the advantages there. It's pretty easy. Just ordered a pipe for it. We've got our vibrant catch can. So these two go out and down the frame rail and just vent to the atmosphere. It's got one off of the bottom there that drains to our King Speed block down there. We also got our King Speed billet valve cover here, and it's got, when we get it back together, you can see it, but it's got a couple of lines that run and of course go to here. So yeah, and we got our radiator hoses made up. The top one's not on right now, but the bottom one is on. So yeah, we're real close. We got all our coolant fittings plugged now, so other than our top radiator hose, we're good to put coolant in it. I believe that's pretty much it since the last time that I picked up the camera. So let's knock out this overhead and we'll see if we can't get this thing running. All right, so we got our overhead ran. We set it at 10 and 20. Some of them I had to move, some of them didn't. When I put this thing together, I set it just a thou, 2 thou loose because I knew it was gonna crush. So I was hoping that I wouldn't have to adjust off of them, and it worked out pretty well. I had to adjust 3 or 4. There was a couple of them that was pretty tight, but other than that, we're ready to go. We're gonna throw the rocker box back on, throw the injector harness back on. We'll put our King Speed valve cover back on, and we'll be ready to add some coolant and see if we can get this thing to crank and run again. So yeah, stay tuned. So there's the valve cover I was talking about and the CCV hoses. Obviously still got to put the top radiator hose on, but we're gonna get it thrown on and we're gonna get some coolant put in this thing. We'll start with 3-ish gallons and then we'll try to crank it and see if it'll run, and we'll go from there. But this eBay special radiator got a little bit of crap in there, but what are you gonna do for 300 bucks? Can't complain. So let's get some coolant in it and we'll keep going. Later, so I was unaware the lower coolant neck that we had our 20 AN radiator hose plumbed into from fire pump. It had been a while since I bought it, and I forgot that normally, like on a standard 5.9 truck, the factory water outlet has a 1/2-inch pipe plug in it. or threaded port in it where you can put a 1/2-inch pipe plug. So I naturally assumed that this one was 1/2-inch pipe. It wasn't. It's -10 O-ring boss, which a 1/2-inch pipe will actually thread into very nice, but it'll never seal. And that was what I was fighting. It kept leaking. So a few days later here, we got the right plug in it, and we're ready to run this thing long enough to kind of take it down the road, get at least a couple miles under it, and then I may do like a couple heat cycles in it, and we'll try to probably do another hot retorque, and then maybe we'll start putting a little bit of throttle to it. Not really like beating on it due to it still having a 68 in here, but for right now, we'll just try to get a few miles on it, make sure all the kinks are worked out, no crazy fuel leaks or coolant leaks or anything like that before we take it to do the trans swap. So let's get this thing fired up, we'll get it warm, make sure that we don't have any other crazy leaks, which I'm pretty sure we don't, and we'll try to take this thing out. Guys, here, so it's a few days later here, obviously. Y'all seen we drove it. We probably put maybe 5-10 miles on it in those videos. But now, of course, we pulled it in here. We done our second hot retorque. I did all that off camera. I actually run out of storage just while all this a few days later, but finally got a little room freed up, so I figured to close this video out. We got a second hot retorque done. It didn't really move a whole lot this time around, which is a good thing. It means we got a good crush on it. So that's pretty much going to wrap this video up. The next video, we are going to, first of all, get an oil change. We're going to put some Hot Shot Secret in it, and we will be starting some of the fab work for the traction bars, sled pull setup, things of that nature. So it should be an interesting video. Now that it runs, video should be a little more interesting, but yeah, y'all stay tuned, and appreciate y'all watching. Before you go, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.